All right, another driving stream. Listening to George FM, New Zealand's finest. You can find it on the internet. I used to listen to it in my Tesla in San Francisco. It's on TuneIn Radio, I think George FM. 96.6 FM here in Auckland. They broadcast it all across the country. Quite often some pretty good tunes, especially on the weekends. So just going to be a quick stream today. I'm just going to pick up a mate from the airport. He's just come back from Burning Man, so I'm sure you get lots of stories about that. He's, I don't know if I'd quite say an insider at Burning Man, but someone who's close to the inside of Burning Man enough to hear some good stories about it. He's also just been partying in Ibiza for 3 months, and I've already heard some stories out of that. Sounds like there'll be some more good ones. So today I just wanted to talk briefly about Dave Acton's amended complaint, and I wanted to do a longer stream on that. I really can't do it justice. I mean, I was expecting it to be 118 pages long. The document that I got was only 78 pages, and I've read probably 55 pages of that, so I haven't got all the way to the end, but so far in what I've read, it's really targeted at Jason Goodman's operation, which is operating through 12 different fronts that are named in the lawsuit. And I didn't see George Webb or Marcus Conti or Denise Matteau, Truth Convoy, named in this amended complaint so far. So look, that might be coming up in towards the pages that I didn't read yet. So, you know, sorry I'm not able to do it the full justice, but it's a pretty big document. Anyway, I thought it was good. Like, if you've been following the LAPORs, you would have seen the reporting, Marcus Conti reporting. You know, it's your boy DeFango. These two guys professing their love for each other and giving you their take on the case, which was that the judge threw this case out of court. Case was dismissed, and that it made Dave into a laughingstock. I'm pretty sure I'm summarising their analysis correctly. Maybe let me know in the chat if I left anything out there. But that's what I heard from those channels. While I said, well, no, that's actually not what it says. It's basically the judge inviting Mr. Acton to file an amended complaint and, you know, get rid of the baseless conspiracy theories, the type of stuff that Jason Goodman peddles, and focus in on the actual crux of, you know, on what basis is he making the complaint, what's his standing, and what are the facts of the case, how's he been wronged, and how's that hurt him professionally. And I think he lays out an extremely good case on all of those issues. You know, I'm obviously a little bit biased, since Jason Goodman has actually named me as part of a conspiracy theory as his defense to this case, that any criticism of him that goes on the Steemit blockchain is actually money laundering rather than legitimate criticism. It's some form of reverse steganography, that you would disguise your money laundering activities through complaints and criticisms of Crowdsource the Truth, and then you would like post on social media to facilitate that. I guess is the basis of his defense of shutting down the Port of Charleston on a fake dirty bomb scare. So, you know, maybe this FBI counsel judge is actually going to buy that defense, maybe not, but he hasn't brought that up in this case. That was actually his other case with Robert David Steele in the Eastern District of Virginia. We'll see if I lose you guys. I think last time I went through this tunnel it did drop out. So in this New York case, so far Goodman hasn't named me, but I've obviously been watching the case pretty closely. And this is a great chance for Dave to restate it, because he originally filed the case in South Carolina, where the damage was done, where the port shutdown affected, you know, hundreds of workers who got sent home, whose families had to grow concerned because they heard about a nuclear bomb scare at the port where their family member works. And, you know, you can't really put a price on that type of general trauma that was disseminated, you know, purporting to be truth, where, you know, we've now discovered, thanks to research that I've published on my blog burners.me and on my channel Crypto Beast. That information was coming from an FBI informant, Okie Marshall Richards Jr., and that George Webb had met with Robert David Steele the day before they launched this clear and present danger LARP. And Robert David Steele, of course, attacked InfoWars, famously going on it to talk about these slave children colonies on Mars. And he's closely associated with Frank Bacon. Frank Bacon says he's known Steele since 1992, which funnily enough is when Steele introduced John Perry Barlow to the CIA for the first time. Of course, Barlow was neck deep being surrounded by people like Timothy Leary, who worked for the CIA for many, many years before this meeting with Steele that he described in Forbes magazine. But and George Webb saying that he's Mossad, but he's old Mossad, and he's Romanian Mossad and French Mossad, and he's. I don't think that if he was, they would let him say that. So it's obvious that he's just trying to say he's working for another intelligence agency than the one that he's actually working for. But I don't think any of these people can be trusted, and I think that I've exposed that with my own research. In fact, Jason Goodman claims that my post Insane in the Ukraine and the follow-up Insane in the Ukraine Part 2, looking into his background with Aerocine, a drone company that flew over Chernobyl nuclear site and took the highest definition video footage that had ever been recorded on a commercial drone, a non-military drone at the time. They did that basically just a week or two before the Maidan revolution broke out in the Ukraine. And I was also able to show that they did test flights of that drone through the city before they went to the Chernobyl site. So that post was picked up by Abel Danger, and then that started Goodman's war with Abel Danger. He's like, how can Bill McConnell publish this disinformation? But he didn't say what in the post was disinformation. He didn't provide any evidence to show that any of it was wrong. And in fact, it's all correct. And I won't say who my research sources were for that post because I don't think they want to be named, but I was working with two other researchers who have been prominent on YouTube in the past and who I consider to be excellent, first-rate, top-notch researchers who have almost never got anything wrong, as well as doing my own research. So Goodman, on the other hand, look at what this guy gets wrong. It's a constant stream of it. And if you look in Dave Acton's amended complaint, he just lays down some of the cases, and the way he expresses it is it's really quite good. When you've been deep in a lawsuit for a couple of years and you get a chance to pull back, take a deep breath, go to the beach, let the waves wash over your feet a bit, go see Linda West, Morning Mayan. It's good for the soul, and it helps you get perspective on things. And I think that that's what has clearly happened with Dave in this case, because this amended complaint is really a thing of beauty, the way that it is restated. And it's restated really quite clearly that anyone who wasn't familiar with this case can see what's going on. That there's an organization called Crowdsource the Truth. This is the claim of the plaintiff. And it actually doesn't research truth in a truth engine like it claims to. It actually, blocks anybody that questions them, pushes fake narratives, and then uses gang stalking techniques to confirm those fake narratives. And Dave has testimony from a former insider of the operation. He doesn't want me using his stage name, so I'll just call him Corey, and Corey, not Phoenix Enigma. Corey, the AI Corey. How about that one? Anyway, he's worked for Jason for many, many years. Jason flew all around the country making shows with this guy. And he says that it's basically what it exists to do is opinion confirmation. So it's worse than confirmation bias. You can state an opinion, and then you can sway the crowd to believe that that opinion is true, even if there is no actual logical or rational thought behind that opinion. And we know that this has been the goal of the Frankfurt School social engineers, not social engineers in the computer hacker sense that Jason pretends he's talking about, social engineers in the mass cultural manipulation sense, the PSYOP sense, that Jason's mentor, Jerome Corsi, studied directly under Edward Bernays, who wrote the book of propaganda, right? This is a direct line. This is like PSYOP royalty that Jason is tapping into to come up with this concept of opinion confirmation through a group. And he goes even further than that. Not only does he find these gullible suckers that believe what he says is the truth, but they actually give him money to do this. They support this operation. And it claims in the lawsuit it's between $10,000 to $15,000 a month coming in from the Patreon and the Subscribe Star and other sources. Now, I would think that Dave Acton has the ability to verify and prove those claims, right? Because I don't think he puts anything in these court documents that he's not prepared to stand up in front of a jury and swear on his black and blue, on his life and his immortal soul to his Lord God, that this is the God's honest truth. You know, that's what is coming from Dave's side in this lawsuit. Coming from Jason Goodman's side is like, well, Steve Outram and DeFango and Frank Bacon conspired to get together on Steemit to do money laundering, and that's the only reason they criticize me. It's a fucking ludicrous idea that the judge immediately threw out and rejected. And yeah, there's other people that they named that I won't even bother. They don't need to be brought into this again. They're as sick of the situation as I am. But I want justice to be served. I think that the legal issues at stake in this case are really, really important, which is, can you just make up shit about people on the internet and then keep telling people a lie enough times until they're convinced it's true, and then the effect of that is it becomes as if it were true and has the effect on the person as if it were true, even though it's not true. This is what it comes down to. And, you know, Dave's, when he lays the case out, he's not putting in all of the things that they said at all. He's just selecting some examples that support the individual claims he's making. And the basis of the claim is New York business law, that you can't conduct business on deceptive and misleading and fraudulent purposes. You can't mislead people as a business. And if you listen to DeFango's confession that he made about Q, which admittedly I don't believe is true, but still he did say this, so guilty conscience or not, why would you confess to a crime you didn't commit? But he said that he, Microchip and Dreamcatcher created Q as a trick to fool boomers. And then, he's accepting all kinds of donations and things on his live streams and shows while he's there talking about Q, saying Cicada created Q, immediately trying to pin it on someone else. Later saying that Jack Posobiec was going to do a story about it and they're giving him the Discord logs, and then that story changed again to Jack Posobiec was in the room when he first proposed Q, and this guy had just been at CIA headquarters tweeting about it, reading Alexander Dugan, and then he's at like a whistleblower hacker conference at DEF CON, straight from CIA headquarters, and then Trump's tweeting to us at OANN, that's the news network that we've got to believe. This is all psyops and propaganda, people. And David Hawkins and Jason Goodman and Lestat, there's others too that I don't need to name them, but I don't see those people as acting in the best interests of the United States, even though Goodman himself may be allied with US operations. He certainly has, the FBI and CIA people that go on his show, they're usually ex from those organizations, and they're usually disgruntled, like Robin Gritz. I was wronged with timesheet fraud, and General Flynn said I'm a hero, so send me money and I'll buy a Volkswagen, and let's conveniently overlook the fact that she knew about 9/11 before it happened, and she was on the team, that led the team that investigated the Pentagon, saying that a freaking airliner crashed into the Pentagon. I mean, watch the videos out of it. 9/11's great now because every year it just comes out on Twitter reminding us, watch this video, watch that video, watch this video. And just a few videos 20 seconds long is all it takes to show that the official story of that is a load of shit. So who has an interest in a truth engine that is actually based on falsehood? Well, go look up COINTEL Pro. Look up what that's all about. Look up Operation Mockingbird. Was it William Casey? I always get him confused with William Colby, and I was just reading about Colby yesterday. But William Casey, I think, is the CIA director who said, we'll know our work is complete when everything the American people believe is a lie. And this is the work of Bertrand Russell back in the days of Aldous Huxley and Eric Blair, George Orwell, and Bertrand Russell coming out with these books, the foundational books of a technocratic society, The basis of it was that the state would tell you that the sky was green and the moon was blue and that snow was black. And children would go through school being taught that, and unless they said that was true, they would fail school. And within, 1 to 2 generations, it would be completed. People would think the wrong thing was completely true. So the power of the internet is that we can cut through this, do our own research, find things out for ourselves. The danger of the internet is that it can be, first of all, misused for propaganda, state-sponsored propaganda purposes, but secondly, for malicious deception by corporations to raise money. And, these quasi-intelligence agencies, these private corporations, the London Centre where Robin Gritz and Tony Schaefer, the original Able Danger, where they're working out of, that's one. Wikistrat, General Michael Flynn's one with Bijan Kian. Have a look into that guy. George Webb's reporting on him almost entirely came from Big Fish, is my understanding. That's why it was so good. The Wikistrat is another one of these. Black Cube, now Allah High Priest, and even Defango have been linked to that. I don't know how much truth there is in that, but certainly Defango and Thomas Schoenberger were trying to create their own one of these called Shadowbox with Trevor Fitzgibbon, who is tied to Podesta and, the Center for American Progress. These are like top-level progressives trying to infiltrate Cicada, trying to infiltrate WikiLeaks, trying to infiltrate Chelsea Manning. This is what these people are doing. Is it really like, hey, I'm just having a laugh, streaming on YouTube, playing video games? If it is, why do you have to team up with John Podesta's PR guy and then go make shows saying that Pizzagate isn't real? Huh? So the great thing about these court cases and documents, in my opinion, is that we get to see these arguments made. And look, I'm very skeptical about this judge. Dave Acton already filed a motion for asking the judge to recuse herself and indicating that his intention to appeal if she didn't. And she's like, well, if I recuse myself, every judge would have to recuse herself. I don't know. Was every judge, general counsel of the FBI under Mueller, giving Stinger missiles to the limo crash informant, Shahid? Or when the TWA 800 crash and subsequent cover-up happened? Was that every judge? Or is there only really one judge that fits that criteria? The minute that the FBI involvement in this Port Charleston case got known, the case was shifted to the Southern District of New York and given to this judge who was appointed by Robert Mueller to be the FBI's general counsel, who sat over all of these govlarps. And if this judge knew Robin Gritz personally, it would not surprise me at all, or Peter Strzok for that matter. So I got some questions, but let's see what they say. I think so far what I read, Acton's complaint is extremely serious. The LARPers who told you that the case got kicked out of court are proven by evidence to be wrong once again. And you read it for yourself. It's probably at Tracking Leopard Moreau's, the document. Hopefully she's still covering it, but you can also find it at Dave's own blog, checkmatek2.net. And you can also find it for yourself on PACER, this course, Southern District of New York, Swigert v. Goodman. Very, very interesting case. And as Hoax Wars put it out the other day, these cases are just getting started. This is by no means the end. It's barely the end of the beginning. We're probably about in the middle of the beginning. So it should be very interesting to see how this all turns out. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. I'll catch you guys later.